everyone, welcome back to Southpaw Creative. I am your host, Jane. Anyways, so I actually get asked a lot of questions about colored pencils and specifically what a good alternative to the more expensive brands are, including Faber-Castell Polychromos, which is featured in my top 3 best colored pencils in the world, which is just basically my opinion. But you have to agree a little bit with me if you are experienced with any type of colored pencils that Polychromos are some of the best oil-based pencils on the market. So I get a lot of questions concerning, what's a good beginner pencil that won't break the bank and is comparable to such a brand. And I've kind of gone through some brands and I've found that this Koh-i-noor Polycolor is kind of, it's close to Polychromos, which I did a little comparison chart. It's not going to be as good as Polychromos, but if you're looking to start out colored pencils, or if you're coloring in coloring books and you're looking for something that is comparable and it won't break the bank, I will recommend this particular brand, and there are pros and cons of it. So I just decided to pick up one of the 12 packs from Michael's on sale. I think I had like a 50% off coupon. I thought, why not? And then I had bought some, let me open this real quick. I had bought some open stock to add as well at a local art store. So altogether I have 24 of some of the primary colors and just basic sets. And then I decided to invest in the Polycolor 24 portrait set, which caught my eye. Ooh, we got one missing. Anyways, this is featured in another particular video, which I apologize, I accidentally deleted, but it's going to be back on YouTube very, very soon. And it's the skin tones and how to draw specifically Caucasian, African American, and Latino women. I still have the file. It's just that I accidentally hit the delete button one day and I just haven't gotten back to it yet. I do apologize for that. However, these are a really good set of portrait colors and I used those in a demo in that video. So I've got a pretty comprehensive set, which includes, some of the portrait colors and some of the primaries and just some extra colors in there too. So I decided to go ahead and do this a while back, just to kind of give you an idea of what you can do with these. And I'll just, let's see if we can zoom in here. Yeah, so this was about 3 layers in. I didn't really have to blend that much. They are oil-based pencils, so there's not going to be any wax bloom, no matter how much you add on to it. I think you could probably get several more layers if I wanted to really get in there. And I had maybe Bristol board. This is just some mixed media pad, but if I had Bristol board, you could probably add even more detail into this particular piece. So there's that. Okay, so you've got bright, vivid colors. You've got good blending capabilities. They do actually offer a colorless blender, which I have, and it works very, very well. I just didn't have to use it that much because when you kind of slowly build up your layers with oil-based pencils, especially if they have very, very smooth application, you don't have to necessarily use that blender as much unless you absolutely want to. I would like to say that they are very budget friendly. I believe that this particular set was on Amazon and it was $24. So that is not too bad for a 24 set, especially of portrait colors. And the 12, I wouldn't recommend necessarily getting it at Michael's unless you have a pretty decent coupon. I think you can get it on Amazon for about $11, maybe somewhere else, maybe Jerry's has it for fairly cheap, and they always have sales too as well. The 72 pack, which is the biggest variety of colors that they have, actually is on sale on Amazon right now, I believe for $60, which is not bad for all the colors that you get if you're wanting to expand the collection. However, I just kind of usually suggest to people to get the 12 pack, get a starter set, see how you like it, so that you're not investing a lot of money and then not liking the product. So I want to show you the comparison chart that I made for Polychromos and Polycolor. So let me zoom in one more time. So Polychromos is here on the left-hand side. Polycolor is on the right-hand side. And I tried to do kind of an apples to apples comparison, although some particular colors didn't match up, some did. we'll just go ahead and start and go down the line here. You've got your pink carmine and carmine. It's pretty close as far as color. Focus on the particular application, the smoothness of it. I will say that whenever I did apply each one of them directly to the paper, one after the other, I did notice a difference. It wasn't that great of a difference, but I will say that Polychromos is smooth. It's not going to get any smoother than that. I mean, Polychromos is the smooth operator of oil-based pencils. And even though I love my Holbein, the Holbein they're softer. So Polychromos, you can't really get around the fact that they are probably some of the smoothest applying oil-based pencils. But Polycolor was pretty close behind. It's not scratchy at all. It is slightly, there were a few little dusty crumbles here and there, but it did not crumble the way that, say, Prismacolor crumbles. They don't crumble the way that a lot of soft core pencils crumble, but both of them are actually fairly smooth for being oil-based pencils. Oil-based pencils are harder, so therefore their application is going to be, it's going to feel different. But very well pigmented, fairly smooth. The phthalo green and the blue green, yeah, it was close, but not quite as far as color goes. But then again, we're focusing more on the application, the pigment, and blue violet. You can kind of tell that's, you know, like I said, there's a difference in smoothness there. Azure blue and middle phthalo blue. Again, I'm not really sure. Here's part of the cons of Polycolor. When you buy sets, they aren't labeled, but yet when you buy their open stock, they have their names on them. So I have no idea what shade of yellow this is. I did compare it to the light chrome yellow, and it's pretty much the same, so we'll kind of go with that. Looks like it has some cadmium in it. This particular one is sanguine for the earth tones and the portrait artists out there. I just wanted to kind of throw that in there. Sanguine in Polycolor is a little bit more vibrant, a little bit more red. Again, you can see the difference in the smoothness. However, like I said, it is not that different. And Cobalt in Polycolor, a little bit more on the violet side than the Polychromos. However, overall, I will say that if you're looking to discover a new colored pencil and you don't have a lot of money in the bank, or you're just on a budget, or maybe you're just kind of experimenting with various brands and you kind of want to find your brand and what you like, I highly recommend just getting a 12-pack of Polycolor by Koh-i-noor and seeing what you think of it. I do not know if they are lightfast. I've checked the website. The website hasn't been updated in a while. They come from Czechoslovakia, and you can tell that they got good wood in them, good pigment. But see here, we've got numbers instead of actual pigment names. But in the open stock that I bought, we have a name, phthalo blue. See, very inconsistent in that particular manner. I really like to have actual color names, but it's not that big of a deal to me at the end of the day if I'm going to be using them. So that's entirely up to you as to whether or not you'll put up with that. So there you go. I mean, if you don't want to spend the money on Polycolor, get the if you don't want to spend the money on Polychromos, and that's understandable, get yourself some Polycolor. It's kind of like I'd like to call it the student version of Polychromos because it's not quite as smooth, but it does have that good thick application. You don't have to use your blender as much. It's not as hard on your hands for those of you who have arthritis and fibromyalgia and other things like that, or just general fatigue whenever you're coloring. And we all know that colored pencils are kind of a slower medium. So therefore it does have its advantages, and it won't break your bank. It's a very good price. So I hope you found this informative. And by the way, I am not sponsored by anybody. I just love art supplies. So go ahead and comment in the section below if you have any questions. Thank you for joining me today. Paint, draw, and open that third eye.